يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الذين آمنوا قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم المؤمن قوي خير وحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير. We praise Allah the Almighty. We believe Him, we trust in Him. We bear witness that nothing deserves to be worshipped except Allah. We ask Allah the Almighty to bless Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, to bless his family and his companions, all of them. Ameen. We seek refuge with Allah from the weakness of ourselves. Brothers and sisters, in today's khutbah, I want us to do something. In my opinion, there's two goals of the Muslims. This is my opinion. It's not Masjid Hamza. It's not Ikna. It's not Isna. It's not Mass. It's not Mana. It's my own personal position. Two objectives that we have. Number one, Muslims have to get rid of the internal contradictions. The deen is perfect. The Quran is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is guided right. But there's a lot of contradictions. We have to get rid of the internal contradictions, number one. And number two, we have to do our work of da'wah in the world to spread the light of Islam. As the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, that Allah said, Ya ibadi kullukum dolun illa man hadaytu fastahduni ahdikum. O my slaves, every one of you are misguided. Every one of you. Unless I guide you, therefore ask me and I will guide you. And this is why we say 17 times a day at least, Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, guide me on the straight path. So today, I want to talk about something very, very fundamental. It's Iman. But with the caveat of understanding what we mean by Iman. And one element of Iman I want to talk about today, inshallah. Not long ago, a young man in his early 20s came to visit me. He's a man that I know for years in Washington, D.C. Whenever I came to Washington for some program, him and his friends would come to visit me. And after the program, they would always take me to a restaurant. We go and we talk. He came to visit me. He now lives in California. He said, Imam, I want to let you know that I hate going to Jummah prayer. I said, you hate going to Jummah prayer? He said, I hate it. I never want to go. I said, why? He said, because it's not relevant to me. And we have to ask ourselves the question, we have to be honest. What percentage of the Muslims go to Jummah prayer? Are there more people in the masjid or outside of the masjid? If we say that there are more people not going to the masjid, then we as imams, leaders, heads, presidents of organizations, Muslim organizations, have to work to try to bring them in. I hope today I can give you a small something for you to consider, inshallah. First of all, I'm going to say something that you find in hadith literature. Everybody repeat it, but how many of us really think about it? For instance, the Prophet ﷺ said that we will be resurrected and gathered naked. Everybody will be naked, and Aisha radiallahu anha said, Ya Rasulullah, people are naked, won't people be looking at each other? He said, no, because the day would be too difficult for people to worry about other people. And then the Prophet ﷺ said something interesting. He said, Awala man yuksa yawm al-qiyamah, Ibrahim. And the first one to be dressed on the day of judgment is Abraham. You should ask yourself the question, why? The Prophet ﷺ said that he would be the first one to be raised from the grave. Expect that. He said that he knocked, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam knocked at Jannah, and the angel guarding the Jannah said, Man anta, who are you? Qala Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the angel said, I was commanded to let no one in Jannah before you. So if the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, the first to be judged, the first one to come out of the grave, the first one to go into Jannah, why Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, the first one to be dressed? For this reason. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam had an incredible trust of Allah. He's Khalilullah, the friend of Allah. He had trust. Because when people, they say Iman, they say, oh, you know, I have Iman, I am a believer. For real? For real? Let me come back to Ibrahim in a minute. I'll leave it right here. You remind me, if I forget, you remind me that I have Ibrahim alayhi salam right there, okay? Don't let me forget. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he goes to the heavens, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him the commandment, khamsa salawat, khamsa salatin, 50 prayers a day. That's his commandment. Listen to what the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam himself said. فَرَجَعْتُ بِذَلِكَ حَتَّى مَرَاتُ عَلَى مُوسَى. I returned with it, the commandment of 50 prayers a day. Allah told him 50. He said, okay. Until I met Musa. And Musa alayhi salatu wasalam said, what did your Lord command? He said, 50 prayers. وقال موسى فرجع إلى ربك فإن أمتك لا تطيق ذلك. Go back because your people will not be able to do 50 prayers a day. So the Prophet ﷺ, listening to Musa, taking the nasiha, taking the advice from Musa ﷺ, he go back to Allah and Allah reduces the prayer. And every time he comes back to Musa ﷺ, Musa says the same thing, go back, because your people couldn't do that, until it got to 5 prayers only. وَقَالَ مُوسَى فَرْجِتْ إِلَى رَبِّكَ فَإِنَّ أُمَّتِكَ لَا تُطِيقُ ذَلِكَ. Go back to your Lord to ask him to reduce it, because your ummah will not be able to do that. Was Moses right? I wonder. One year I had to do the Eid khutbah in one of the masjids. And everybody was gathered. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And the people are behind me. And the organizer gets up and he takes the mic and said, brothers and sisters, Imam Siraj is about to lead the Eid prayer. But it's important, if any of you didn't make Fajr prayer this morning, you should make it now. Now, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, so I'm not going to look. Why should I look to see how many people are going to get up to make Fajr prayer at 9 o'clock in the morning? I'm not going to look. But as I'm sitting there waiting, I hear all of this rumbling, movement. People behind me was moving. So I couldn't help myself. So I turned around, and to my shock, about 60% of the people were standing up making Fajr prayer. I ain't judging them. But I'm asking the question, how many of us are really serious about the deen? How many of us are really faithful? A man came to the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him. He wants to learn about Islam. And the Prophet, he says, Khamsa salawat fi layl wal yawm. 5 prayers a day. And the man said, Hal alayya ghayruhunna? Is there any more than the 5 prayers? Qala la illa an tatawwa. No, except what is extra. And then the Prophet, he says, Siyamu shahru Ramadan. Qala hal alayya ghayruhu? Is there anything more than fast the Ramadan? Qala la illa an tatawwa. The Prophet said, no, except what is extra. And then the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, zakat. قال هل علي غيرها? Is anything more than that? قال لا إلا أن تطوع, except what is extra. And the man turned around and said, والله لا أزيد على هذا ولا أنقص منه. I swear by Allah, I'm not going to increase it nor decrease it. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أفلح إن صدق. He will be successful if he's telling the truth. What percentage of our ummah do even the basics? You ask a person, you Muslim? Yes. They're not going to deny it. I'm Muslim. Do you make salat? No. But I'm Muslim. Do you fast in the month of Ramadan? No. But I'm Muslim. For real? Honestly? And people, they cheapen this idea, I'm a believer, but I believe in my heart. No such thing. It's possible to make salat and still not be a believer. You could be a munafiq, a hypocrite. But it is impossible, it's impossible not to make salat and be a believer. It's impossible. Because Allah says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, fear Allah as much as you're able to. And even if you can't stand up to pray, even if you're in your hospital and you have to lay down on your back and pray, you still pray 5 times a day, the best way you know how. Even if you can't make sajda, we have in our masjid, we have brothers sitting in chairs, sisters sitting in chairs. So Allah is merciful, so even though we can't pray, the Prophet says, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli, praise you see me pray. And even if we can't pray like him, if we try our best, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bless us. Now go back to Musa, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Ibrahim taught the oneness of Allah, the friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to so much that the disbelievers hated him and decided that they're going to burn him in the fire. They said they built the biggest fire ever. This fire was so hot that even if you get close to it, you will burn up. So they couldn't make the fire so that they push Ibrahim in the fire. They had to make a catapult a distance away so that they could shoot him and let him land in the fire. And they tied him up. And they took off his clothes. Our father Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was naked when they threw him in the fire. And then when the catapult shot up and Ibrahim was in the air about to go into the fire, all the angels are waiting, knowing that Allah would do something. Angel of the water is waiting for Allah to give the commandment so to put the water out, put the fire out with the water. And Jibril, he goes to Ibrahim while he's in the air and asks him, do you need something? I mean, for real? I'm thinking maybe this fire, you might want to do something. He didn't say that. You know what he said according to one narration? Yes, I want help, but not from you. If it's from you, I don't want it. Why? Because he's waiting for one. He's waiting for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself to do it. And all the angels, everybody waiting, all the animals ready to blow out the fire. And then Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, he said, the last words that Abraham said before he went into the fire was Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient. He is a disposer of affairs. And at that moment, the Lord of the worlds, Kulna, Ya Naru Kuni Bardin wa Salamin ala Ibrahim. Oh, fire, be cool and safety for Ibrahim. And Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he goes and he's safe. The scholars of Islam say that if Allah had just said fire be cool, the fire would have been so cold it would have killed Abraham. So Allah says not only be cool, but be safe for Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. This because he trusted Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we as Muslims have to trust Allah. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. My message today is simple. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Is trust Allah. The question is, do we really believe? If I would ask you to raise your hand, if I did, and say, how many of you believe in shaitan? Most of you will raise your hand. Not all of you. Today in this world, shaitan is a like nothing to them. They, it's a joke. It's a punchline. So if I said to you, how many people believe in shaitan? Most of you would raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, you would be wrong. Because Muslims don't believe in shaitan. We say, amantu billah. We believe in Allah. No one would ever say, amantu bi shaitan. Because acknowledging the existence of something is not the same as believing in something. We acknowledge the existence of shaitan. Shaitan is real. But we don't believe in him because an element of belief is trust. And we trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe in him and we trust in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there are a lot of Muslims say, well, I believe in Allah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you really believe in Allah. Because let me show you something. It's simple. Consider the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to shaitan, Iblis. مَا مَنَأَكَ أَلَا تَسْجُدَ إِذْ أَمَرْتُكَ. Why didn't you bow down when I ordered you to? Listen to his words carefully. أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِنْهُ. I'm better than him. خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ. خَلَقْتَنِي. You created me. I just left Norway 2 weeks ago. Shocked to learn for the first time in the history of that country, there are more atheists than Christians. 39% of the population of Norway, atheists. Deny God, deny the Creator. Iblis, khalaqtani. You created me. Min narin wa khalaqtahu min teen. And you created him from mud. Qala, this is Iblis talking. Qala Rabbi. Qala Rabbi. He said, my Lord. Who's speaking? Iblis. What he said? Qala Rabbi. Fa'anzirni ila yawm yubathun. Give me time until the day that they are resurrected. This is Iblis talking. The day that they will be resurrected. You created me, my Lord. Give me time until the day that they are resurrected. One more. When you get a chance, you go home, pick up Kitabul Iman, Muslim Hadith, volume number 1, the Book of Faith. The Prophet ﷺ says that whenever the children of Adam read the Quran and they see prostration and they prostrate, Shaitan goes in seclusion, yabki, crying, saying, woe is with me, woe is with me. The children of Adam was given a commandment to prostrate, and they prostrate. For lahum al-jannah, for them is al-jannah. And I was given the commandment to prostrate, and I refused. Wali an-nar, and for me the fire. Khalaqtani, you created me. Rabbi, my Lord, give me time until the day of resurrection. For him is Jannah, for me and nar. Is Shaitan a believer? Some of you shaking your head. Let's see what Allah says. Aba wastakbar wa kana minal kafirin. He was proud, arrogant, and he disobeyed Allah. He was one of the disbelievers. Because a believer is not mere acknowledgement. Yeah, I acknowledge God. Yeah, Allah's God. I acknowledge that. You ain't saying nothing. Shaitan said that. In my conclusion, brothers and sisters, honestly, be honest with you, I haven't even started to talk about what I want to talk about today. I even started, this was like an introduction, but we have to go. I leave you with this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolutely independent. He doesn't need any of us. I'm going to say something, see if you ever remember reading in hadith literature what I'm about to say. Ana Malik. Ana al-mulukul ard. I am the king. Where are the kings of the earth? Any of you ever remember reading that in hadith literature? Ana Malik. Ana al-mulukul ard. I am the king. Where are the kings of the world? You know who's speaking? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Who's listening to him? Who can hear him? Who's listening to him? Where are the kings of the earth? Aina Jabbaruna. Where are the arrogant ones? Where are the Jabbaruna, the tyrants? Aina Mutakabiruna. Where are the arrogant ones? Who's there to hear him? Huh? Who's there to hear him? Not one soul. Nufiqa fis-sur. And the horn shall be blown. Everybody talks about the horn. Go to the Torah, they talk about the horn, the trumpet. Go to the Injil, they talk about the horn. Go to Quran, all throughout the Quran, Allah talks about the horn. And so we think about the horn, the angel gonna blow the horn, and the prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said, how can I relax when the angel of the horn already has his lip on the horn ready to blow? How can I relax? So you think about a horn, right? How big is this horn? According to narrations, the horn, the size of the horn is bigger than the size of the earth. And when the horn is blown, such a sight, such a sound. When the horn is blown, everything living in creation dies. Illa mashallah, except what Allah pleases. And the scholars of Islam say there's 12 exceptions. Everything dies in creation except 12. Number 1, Jibreel, Mikael, the blower of the angel of the horn, and Malikul Maut, and the angel of death, and the 8 angels who hold the throne of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said, I was given permission to describe something of the angels who carry Allah's throne. He said, the distance between the earlobe of the angel to his shoulder, that distance here, you see that? You see that distance there? He said the angel of the throne, the distance is the time that it takes for a bird to fly 700 years. That's just that little space there. 700 years, how big? And Allah asked the angel, what's left? He said, these are the only ones left. Then Allah will teach the angel of death how to take the soul of those rest of the angels. And he will do it. And Allah will say, who's left? The angel of death will say, you and me. Allah will say, die. And the angel of death would be gone. No one else in the universe. Every Everybody is gone because Allah is independent. He don't need nothing. He don't need no one. Ana Malik. Ana Mulukul Ard. I am the king. Where are the kings of the earth? Ana Jabaruna. Where are the tyrants? Where are you? You who thought you so big and bad and mighty, you presidents and kings of nations who have destroyed people, you Firaun, you Hitler, all of you, where are you? And then Allah will bring back the angel who blow the horn, and he'll blow a second time according to the Quran, and everybody will come to life. Brothers and sisters, please, 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 if you never had faith before, now is the time to do it. Some of my comrades, some imams tell me, he said, Imam Siraj, there are a number of Muslims, because of the difficulty we face now, are leaving their religion. I can't think of a better time to be a Muslim than right now, with all of its trials. When I got to the airport coming back from Oslo, they gave me my ticket. I had a first class ticket, first class. And I noticed when they handed me my ticket, it had S, 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 S on it. If you don't know what it is, I'll tell you later. But if you get S, 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 S on your ticket, Sheikh, they're going to have some extra time with you. Yeah. So I go to my gate. I have first class, right? First class. You're the first one on the plane, right? Go to my gate. They say, oh, sir, please come this way. And I go into another room, take everything out your pocket. They search me again and go in my carry-on and search everything. They open the books. They go from page to page. What you looking for? And so instead of being the first one on the plane, I was one of the last people on the plane, first class. When I got back to New York, it's only then I learned why they did that. Because what happened in Belgium had just happened. I never knew about it until I got home. So I'm saying to myself, what did I do? فَاجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرٌ مِّنَ الظَّنِّ إِنَّ بَعْدَ الظَّنِّ وَلَن تَجَسَّسُوا, Allah says. Beware of most cases of suspicion, because suspicion in some cases is sin, and do not spy on one another. Why are you spying on me? And then it hit me. I'm watching CNN. I'm watching all this stuff about Belgium. I'm feeling bad about the number of people that died in Belgium, the people that was wounded. I feel bad. But I noticed 2 days before that, I'm watching CNN, and you know how they scroll things on the bottom of the screen? So I'm looking, it's small, and it's going fast. I'm trying to get what they're saying. And they're talking about the Muslims who were killed in Turkey a day before. No big outcry. No 24-hour. Muslim die in Lebanon. Muslim die every day, but nothing there. And they don't make the Muslims human. So I say to myself, they got an agenda. And as difficult as things are, we have to be patient because we trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no matter how bad things look, Allah will reward us for being patient. Believe. Al-mu'minu qawiyyu khayrun wa habbu ila Allah min al-mu'min if-da'if wa fi kullin khayra. A strong believer is better, more loved by Allah than a weak believer, but there's good in all of them. So I ask Allah the Almighty to strengthen us, strengthen our iman. Make us true believers. Make us be those who love Allah and Allah love us. Make us strong enough to be those who would follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ask Allah the Almighty to give us patience, give us strength, tie the hearts of the believers together. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أطعنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته الذين من قبلنا ربنا لا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واغفر عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. إقامة الصلاة.